everyone, I'm Debbie. Welcome to Book and BuJo, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Join me today for my October TBRopoly. It's spooky season, so it's time to start building a nice spooky TBR. Let's see if TBRopoly will accommodate that, or if it's just going to be me. Let's see how I did in September to see if I need to do a reward or a punishment. Roll number 1, I got an odd card, and that was to read a YouTube recommendation, and I read What If by Randall Munroe. I did finish that. Next was another odd card, and that was to read a TBR vet, and I chose Figment, which is the second book in the Insanity series by Cameron Chase, and I am currently reading that. I should have it done. It's not super long. Third roll was a NetGalley pick, and for this one I did have The Hero's Equinox, and then I realized it was the third book in a series. I do have the first one, but I have not read that or the second one, so I decided not to choose that one, and I went with The Story of Oog, or A New Thinker's Guide to the Forest, and this is by Len Vlahos, and I have not read that yet. And I probably won't get to it before the end of September. Fourth roll was an even card, and that was to read a romance, and for that one I chose The Pickup by Hannah Doyle, and I did read that, and that was really cute. Next, I landed on D20 and I rolled an 11, and that was to read Gemina by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, the second book in the Illuminate files, and I did read that, loved it. Next was to read a classic, and I chose The Moorland Cottage by Elizabeth Gaskell, and I did finish that one. Roll number 7 was an even card, and that was to read a fantasy romance, and I chose The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst, and I did read that one, and it was so cute, very cozy. Next was to read a special edition, and I pulled out my special edition drawer and I got Dead Stars Part 1 by Ben Galley. I have not started this one yet, but I will be starting it before the end of the month. I don't know if I'll have it finished, but I should be starting it at least. I next drew an even card, and that was to read a dystopian, and I read Wool by Hugh Howey. And this is just part 1 of the book. I think it's just like the first few chapters because it's only like 56 pages, but I did finish it and it's very intriguing. I do want to continue with the full book and the series. Next, I landed on another NetGalley spot, and for this one I chose The Scary Book of Fairy Tales, put together by Tim Rayborn, and I have started that one, so I should have that one finished before the end of the month. It's basically a compilation of the fairy tales from the Brothers Grimm and from Hans Christian Andersen, and I think a couple other ones thrown in there. The first handful of stories was Snow White and Cinderella, Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin, you know, the normal fairy tales you kind of know, but don't necessarily know the ending. And I've actually read all of those before. Some of them I know, and a lot of them you know from the Disney fairy tales and whatever. I am reading it all the way through because it's fun for a little refresher, and they're all really short. But I'm going to be paying a little more attention to the Hans Christian Andersen one. Oh, and we also had Hansel and Gretel and, you know, those ones. Well, number 11 was an odd card, and that was to read anything you want. And for that one, I read Reckoning by Michael R. Miller, the fourth book in the Songs of Chaos series, and 5 stars all the way. The whole series is 5 stars. It's so good. So good. If you like dragon riders, coming of age, kind of a somewhat chosen one. A chosen one trope where he doesn't actually know what he's doing and has to learn along the way. Not like miraculously just knows everything and is great at everything. No, he has to learn along the way. Highly recommend this one. Next up was a TBR jar pick, and I got Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio, the first book in the Sun Eater series, and I did read that. Very much enjoyed it. Good sci-fi space opera. And then lastly was an odd card, and that was to read a read-along book, and for that I am reading Blood Promise by Rochelle Mead, and I have started it. I am on chapter 11, but I should have this one finished before the end of the month. So that means there are 5 out of 15 books that I have either started or have not read at all yet, which means I get a punishment. Even if I finish the ones I've already started, there's at least 2 that I ain't getting to, so punishment it is. I'm really close and I still have a few days left, but I don't think I'm going to make it, so I'm going to go ahead and pull a punishment. And that is to read 2 books for 1 prompt. So I get to choose 1 prompt, and I'll read 2 books for that 1 prompt. I don't have to use it for every prompt, but just I'll get to pick which one. And my punishment is to read 2 books for 1 prompt. Luckily, I don't have to do this for every prompt. I get to pick which prompt I have to double up on, so that's helpful. I do have to say, I ended up having to play the game twice. The first time I did all my stuff, I got my rolls done and I finished, and then I pulled my camera down and realized it had stopped after 7 seconds, so it got absolutely nothing. So that was frustrating. So I then set everything back up and did it again, and this time it actually worked. So I did get a lot of the same prompts, and I tried to put a lot of the same books on there. But the first time around, I did end up with, I started with 11 rolls. I ended up getting 4 doubles, and so I ended up with 15 rolls. And I had some of the same prompts, some of them were different, but I did try and get a lot of the same books and stuff in there as well. So whatever cards I had picked up, I put back exactly how they were before I started the first game. That way, whatever I landed on, I ended up picking the same one. So there we go. Let's see how many rolls I will be doing. Okay, and then I have a lot of readathons I'm going to do in October, so I don't want to roll my D20, but I do want quite a few books. I need at least 13 books on my TBR, just because. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my D12. I may regret this, but I'm going to go ahead with my D12. 4. So here's the conundrum. If I roll a 4 or less, then I have to roll again and either combine the two or take the higher number, because I need at least 5 books on my TBR. So let's go ahead and roll again. 11. I'm taking the 11. I'm not putting 15. So I'm going to take the 11. As you saw, I got a 4, which if I roll a 4 or less, I have to roll again. And then I either combine the two or I take the bigger number, whichever it is. And this actually happened the first time around that I played as well, and that one I got a 3. The second time I got an 8, and so then I combined them and took 11. Well, this time I got a 4 and an 11. I'm just going with the 11. On to the rolls. And now for roll 1 of 11. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an even card. And that is to read a book club book, which is perfect. Roll number 1, that was an even card, and that is to read a book club book. Well, that is super easy. I have a ton of book club books. Plus, this is the perfect prompt to use my punishment on, which is 2 books for 1 prompt, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And for this one, I will be doing the BuJo Buddies Book Club book, which is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, as well as the Ketchup Book Club's book, A Time of Blood by John Gwynne, and that is the second book in the Of Blood and Bone series. Okay, roll 2 of 11. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's an odd card. And that is to read a book with a light cover. So I could take this two ways. It has a light on the cover or a light cover, but I think I'm going to go with a light covered book. So white, pastels, that kind of thing. Roll number 2 was an odd card, and that is to read a book with a light cover. And for this one, I'm very excited because this is the one book I definitely wanted to get on my TBR, and that is Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff, the second book in the Empire of the Vampire series. And it is a white cover. There is a lot of red on there too, but it is a white cover with red on it. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Okay, roll 3 of 11. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Series book. A Rick Riordan, which is great because I need to read The Chalice of the Gods, part of the Percy Jackson universe, and that is on my 52 book club readathon, so I need to get that one read. Nice. Roll number 3 was a series card, and that is to read the next Rick Riordan book. And for that, I'm going to read The Chalice of the Gods, the next book in the Percy Jackson series. And this one, I don't remember what number it is. Comes after all the others. So Percy Jackson and the Olympians, number whatever. But I'm excited to read this one, and it fulfills a 52 book club readathon prompt as well. Okay, roll 4 of 11. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A D20. Okay, here we go. Number 5. Let's see what that one is. Okay, D20. 5. Knight's Shadow, The Greatcoats, number 2 by Sebastian de Castell. Interesting. I hope my library has it because I do not own that book. I have the first one and the fourth one, but not the second one. Roll number 4 was a D20. So I got out my D20 die and I rolled a 5, and on my list that came up as Knight's Shadow, the second book in the Greatcoat series by Sebastian de Castell. Very excited to read this one. I started the series last year and I hopefully will read more than one a year because there's 4 or 5 books in the series. But I'm excited to read this one. Okay, roll 5 of 11. A 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A classic. Roll number 5 was a classic. I actually have 2 books I could use, so I mean I could, if I really wanted to, I could double up on this one as well, because one of my book club picks is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I've actually already read this one, so I wasn't planning on reading it, but then it fits a couple readathon prompts that you'll see later on in the video. So I may add that one in, but I will definitely go with And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and this one is also a book club book pick. So maybe that's the thing, I'm using book club books, so anytime I have that I need to add 2. Maybe that's the new role for this particular punishment. Roll 6 of 11. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 in 2025, which is great because I haven't had one of these in so long. Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Perfect for the spooky season. Roll number 6 was a 25 in 2025 prompt. So excited. I have not been landing on this spot, and there's a lot of books I still need to read on that. And that is to read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. And this is the second book in the Alex Stein series. I read the first one, loved it, and I am excited to get to the second one. Roll 7 of 11. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Special editions. All right. This one. Oh, wow. I really need to figure out a different way to fold these because that doesn't work well. Gunmetal Gods. And this one's great. So I have read the first book, which is Gunmetal Gods. The second book is Conqueror's Blood, and my special edition should be coming in October. So this is perfect. And this is by Zamil Akhtar, the second book in the series. Next roll, I landed on a special edition, and I got Gunmetal Gods, and I've actually read Gunmetal Gods, but I'm going to take it as the series because I'm getting the second book in. So this is the first book in the series, which is just Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. And the second book in the series is Conqueror's Blood, and that one should be shipping in October. And I do also have that one on my Kindle. So Conqueror's Blood by Zamil Akhtar, the second book in the Gunmetal Gods series. And hopefully in October, my special edition will arrive at my doorstep. Okay, roll 8 of 11. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. TBR jar. No idea what I'm going to get out of this one. Destiny. No idea what that book is. It's probably a free Kindle book I got at some point. Roll number 8 was a TBR jar pick, and I pulled out Destiny, and that one is by Shannon Pemrick, and it is the Experimental Heart series, book 1. And I believe this is also her debut book. If anyone's looking for a debut author, here you go. Okay, roll 9 of 11. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's another even card. That's to read a sci-fi. Perfect. Roll number 9 was an even card, and that was to read a sci-fi. And for this one, there's a couple ways I want to go, but I think I'm going to go a little more conservative with it and go with Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, the third book in the Illuminate Files, and that would get that trilogy read and over with. I think there might be a novella or companion book or something like that in the series, but I'm not sure, but at least I'll have the main 3 done this year, which is pretty cool. Okay, roll 10 of 11. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another series book. Earthsea. So I've read the first 2, so I'm up to the 3rd book in the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin. Roll number 10. I landed on series again, and for this one, if you can see that, it's pencil, but it says Earthsea, so I need to read the next book in the Earthsea trilogy by Ursula K. Le Guin, and this is book number 3, and that's The Farthest Shore. All right, and number 11. Roll 11 of 11. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another 25 in 2025. Return to a Dan. That's a long one. It's good. I'm on the 3rd book in the series, but it's kind of a long one. Not one I was thinking of, but I'm excited to read it, so yay. And then roll 11 of 11, which no doubles. I'll take it this time around. The first time I had 4 doubles, so I'll take this one. And I landed on 25 and 2025 again, which is funny because I landed on 2 of them last time in the game that didn't record as well, so I ended up getting both of these books anyway. And that is Return to a Dan, and that is by Philip Chase, and this is the 3rd book in the Dan trilogy. And Philip Chase actually has another book out in kind of a sequel series or a sister's. The word is escaping me. A related series to the Dan trilogy, but it's not necessarily part of this one. And I have that one too, so I'm excited to get this one finished so then I can read that one. And these books are all really good. They are slower paced. There's a lot of journeying, but there's a lot of great battles and other things going on. There's magic, and it's a great trilogy. I would highly recommend it, and I'm looking forward to finishing the last book. And that's it. Nice and easy with just the 2 prompts that I used for punishments because they both involved book club books. And yeah, yay. And I got pretty much all the same books that I got the first time around that didn't film. So yeah, that worked out well too. All right, now we move into book clubs, read-alongs, and year-long readathons. Book club books. BuJo Buddies Book Club, we are reading A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, and I'm looking forward to that one. For the Catch-Up Book Club, we are reading A Time of Blood by John Gwynne, the 2nd book in the Of Blood and Bone series. For the Wellread Book Club, we are reading And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. For the Game of Tomes with Carolyn Marie Reads, we are reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. Now, I've already read this, so I will not be rereading it. For the Hardcore Literature Book Club with Benjamin McAvoy, we are reading The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I think I probably will end up rereading this one. I enjoyed my reread of Rebecca, and out of all of the classic horror ones that I've read, I think I like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde the most. I do like Dracula. Frankenstein's okay, but I like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde the most out of those 3 at least. For A World of Words, don't know yet. Still figuring that one out. For the Thomas Howell Book Club, we are reading Something Wicked This Way Comes, and that's by Ray Bradbury, and I have already read that. I've watched the movie multiple times, and I probably won't reread that one. There's some other spooky books I want to get to that I haven't read yet. And then for Words and Influence, not sure yet. And that one is with Kara's Bookshelf. And then for Me, a Princess? Shut up. And so far, the poll is still out, but so far 66% of the votes are going towards Alchemized by Senlin Yu. And I have not read Manacle yet. I have Manacled, but again, both of them are over 1,000 pages. I'm on the list for my library, but I think there's 8 people in front of me, so I may or may not be reading it in October, but hopefully I can get to it before the end of the year. If I can't get to it, maybe I'll try and shove in Manacled. We'll see how much time I have. For read-alongs, I I have not gotten to it, so I still need to read part 2 of To Green Angel Tower by Tad Williams, and that's with For the Three Swords Along. It only went through the end of September. The live show is going to be in October, but hopefully I can kind of squeeze this in somewhere. I do love the series and I want to get to it. I was just prioritizing some other books first. And then for Vampire Academy, we are up to book 5, and that is Spirit Bound by Rochelle Mead. I believe it's the 4th or the 5th book in the Vampire Academy series. I was looking in the wrong spot. It's right up here. So yeah, Blood Promise, the one I'm reading right now, is book 4. So Spirit Bound is book 5 in the Vampire Academy. And then I'm trying to decide. They're having an Anne of Green Gables read-along. So each month you read a different Anne of Green Gables book, and I love the Anne of Green Gables series. I've read them all before, so if I have time, I will start it in October. Maybe I'll double up in November instead, but we'll see. So the first book is Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery, the first book in the series. And I love that series. Anne of Green Gables read-along is put together by Bookworm Wander. Now for year-long readathons. First up, we have Year in Aeldia. And for Ariel, she was at 9B and then needs to go to 10B. And on her way, she meets some entry wardens. So she needs to read a debut. And this is why I brought up the point that Destiny by Shannon Pemrick is her debut book, because I will be reading this one. And this one's the first one in the Experimental Heart series. It is over 500 pages. Hopefully it reads fast. I have a feeling, just by the cover, I have a feeling it's probably YA, maybe new adult, somewhere right in there, so it should read a little quicker. For Karasu, he is moving from 9C to 10C, and he dyes his hair purple. Good color. So the cover color of your book needs to match your favorite color. Well, my favorite color is actually black. So that makes it kind of easy, especially during spooky season, because most covers are the majority of them are black. So I'll probably give Paul Tremblay another try and read horror movie. For Luminara, she is moving from 9A to 10A, and she meets river pixies, and she needs to read a book with foil on the cover, and my edition is not in yet, but it will have foil on the cover, and that is Conqueror's Blood by Zamil Akhtar, the second book in the Gunmetal God series. Lastly, we have Castian, and he is going from 9D to 10D, and he enters a laboratory. So he needs to read a sci-fi, and he will be reading Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, the third book in the Illuminae files. Buzzwordathon. For the title prompt, you need to have a book with violent words. And for this one, I plan on reading Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff, and that is the second book in the Empire of the Vampire series. And for some reason, if that doesn't work, Conqueror's Blood will work as well, because Conqueror and, well, blood. And then for the cover, you need to have a weapon on the cover, and I'll be reading Time of Blood by John Gwynne. I'm trying to get as many book club books in here as multiple times as possible. And then we move into TBR Knockout with Completely Melanie. And the first prompt is paranormal. And for this one, I'm very excited to get back into this series. And I believe this is the 4th book in the series. And that's Portraits of the Forsaken by E.E. Holmes. And then the second prompt is the word black in the title, the series, or the author name. And I was struggling a bit with this one. I could spell the word black, but I didn't have anything that had the actual word black in it. And then I remembered the Broken Binding subscription box book I just got in, and that is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. And this one actually is also going to help me out with some other readathon prompts, so I'm glad to add it in. Plus, it's just beautiful. I mean, look at that. So stunning. And then lastly, for the year-long readathons, The Year of Goober with Jess from Jashi Curran. And the first prompt is Marigold, which is warmth. And the prompt is read in a cozy place. So I plan on reading in, I have multiple cozy places around the house. This is definitely one of them. And I plan on reading the BuJo Buddies Book Club, which is also just from Jashi Curran. And that is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. And then the second prompt is Cosmos, Harmony, book with multiple authors. And so originally I had a different book for my sci-fi, but no other books that I had multiple authors. So I switched it to Obsidio, the third book in the Illuminae files, because it's by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Originally, I was going to read Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, but I will save that to later. Now for readathons. There are so many. There are so many. Probably going to do roll as you go for all of the readathons that I'm going to be taking part in. And I have clips of the first roll of most of them. My printer ran out of ink and I thought we still had at least 2 left. We have none. So I can't print anything off yet. So hopefully Editing Debbie will have time to print stuff off and do rolls and things like that for the ones that I don't have yet, and maybe come back in with a different outfit because it would be a different day and tell you what those are. If not, maybe I can do them digitally because all of these boards have a digital version as well. And some of these I don't have figured out yet. I will probably do a couple of vlogs that have the readathon rolls in them as well to kind of go through some of them, like the Long Walk Readathon. I haven't even figured that one out yet. I have the board ready to print off. They have a digital copy too. And all of the prompts, I just need to actually figure out how that one works. But I will leave the links to all of the readathons, book clubs, all of that stuff down in the description box below in case you want to check them out and join in. First off, we have Leandra, the TBR0, who always does such amazing readathons. And this one is TBR Harvest. And I believe there are 3 different boards that you can choose from. One is a bingo board, which has multiple different board options. One is tomes and tombs, and there's also the pumpkin patch. I actually chose 2. One of them is Tombs and Tomes, and this one is multiple ways you can do it. She has a version with the numbers for each of the tombs and one that doesn't have it. So whichever way you want to go, you can color these in, you can write the book name in, however you want to play it, you can. And then you can use this more like a D20 kind of a thing where you just roll and pick that number and read whatever book you put on this list, or you can use her list, which has a whole bunch of different prompts on it. So this is number 1. So let's go ahead and roll and see what I get. TBR Harvest Tombs and Tomes board, and this is by Leandra, the TBR0. And this one, there are 31. I'm trying to figure out how best to do that with rolling the dice to get 31. Now this one you can do like October 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I mean, there's many ways you could play this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the die and see what number I get, and I'll start there. And I may double, triple up, whatever. If I have one book that fits multiple, I may do that and then kind of go from there. So I've got my D12, my D10, my D8, and my D4. It's not quite exactly 31, but we'll make it work. Okay, I've got a 6 and a 3 and a 5 and a 1. Is that a 1? No, it's the one that's upright, right? So that's a 3. Oh yeah, there we go. 3, 3. Okay. So that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. Okay, so 17, tree or forest on the cover. And when I finish that one, then I will come to this board and find the number 17, which is here, and color that, write the book title in there, and then color it in. And if it does fit any others, then I will color it in the same color. So that way I know I doubled up, tripled up, whatever the case may be. Or that was all part of my first roll. Okay, so I got a 17, which is that one there. And if you come to her little prompt list, that is to read a book with trees or forest. So you can find items on the covers of your book, and feel free to combine some of the different prompts. So you can double up on these ones. I mean, really, you can do it however you want. And if you don't want to read a book, you can also treat the prompt as a scavenger hunt. So maybe you go take a hike in the forest or something like that. Maybe you plant a tree. That would be cool. So for this one, trees and forest, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that A Time of Blood by John Gwynne has trees and forests in the book. Not on the cover, though. So I'm going to take this as themes in the book or on the cover. But I'm sure I could find other books that have trees and forests on them. I'll have to take a look and see. But I'm planning on reading A Time of Blood. Return to Edan also has a lot of forest walking. Empire of the Damned probably also has a lot of forests and trees in it as well. Night Shadow by Sebastian de Castell probably does also. And possibly The Farthest Shore by Ursula K. Le Guin. Actually, that one might have trees on the cover also, because I know there's, and I didn't really look closely at the cover, but I know there's kind of an island and I think there's some trees on it. So I may switch to that one. We'll see if I find one that has, if I find a book that has a tree on the cover, I will place it here and let you know. If not, then I will be sticking with A Time of Blood. TBR Harvest with Leandra the TBR 0, and this is the pumpkin patch board. Roll number 1. 3. 1, 2, 3. Read 51% of the book at night. Next is the pumpkin patch, and this is also Leandra the TBR 0 with TBR Harvest. And I decided to start, you can start wherever you want to. You can start in the middle, you can start wherever you wanted. I decided to start where this little book is, and I rolled a 3, so I did went to the pumpkin, so 1, 2, 3, and that is read 51% of the book at night. That should be pretty easy because I read at night anyway, especially if it's an ebook or an audiobook, because I tend to put audiobooks in while I'm getting ready for bed, you know, washing my face, brushing my teeth, that kind of thing. And I plan on reading whichever one I choose. It's probably going to be Church of Friendo by Adam Caesar, the 3rd book in the Clown on a Cornfield series, or I may choose horror movie. One of those two, probably Church of Friendo. Next up, we have Spooktober. And this is with Reader C and Reading with Rylan, and it's pretty cool. So you start over here and then you make your way up, and if you get to the haunted house by October 18th, so this part runs from October 1st to October 18th, and then you give them a day, and then we start the competitive team portion of the Readathon, and that's inside the haunted house, and we will find out once we get closer to that date what's all going to be involved in that. And there's a lot of activity that happens on the Discord as well, so make sure you check out their announcement videos so you can get all the links to everything. And all of these I'm rolling a 1 6-sided die. All right, Spooktober Readathon, roll number 1. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A novella. And for this one, as you just saw, I rolled a 5, and that was to read a novella. And I decided to go, this is probably one of the reasons why I decided to put this on the TBR. I decided to reread it, and that's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, because it's short, so it's considered a novella, and most of the other books I have are too long for that. Next up, we have the Relax and Readathon, and this is put together by Reading Nymph, and it's going to be a lot of fun. There's self-care prompts, there's bookish prompts. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So let's see what I rolled. Relax and Readathon, roll number 1. A 4. I'm just going to start at the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Read a short book. And I started way up here, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was to read a short book, so of course I'm gonna use Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde again. And then this one, I'm just gonna figure it out as I go and see what books fit what prompt. Instead of arranging my TBR around the prompts, I'm gonna figure out what books I'm reading and then fit them into whatever prompts they fit in. And this is the Bewitched spell book, and this is by Erin Smith, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can play this. Overall, there's 24 possible prompts that you can use, and there's different versions that you can play, and I will let her tell you all about them, and I'll leave her link down below. And she also has one of these that shows book options for each of the prompts, so in case you need some help figuring out what fits with what, which may also spark some other ideas for you. But some of the prompts are like the shadow blanket, where you get 5 points, and that is cast to wrap yourself in the quiet comfort of the night. The first prompt worth 2 points is a book with a black or gray cover. That one's easy. A gothic or horror story, also easy. And a book with the word dark in the title. Well, that should work, actually. Do I have one that has dark in the title? I don't think I do. I may have to find a book that fits dark in the title. Depends on if I want to try and do all the prompts or not, but you know me, I'm going to try, right? And if you do all of them, then they're each worth 2 points. So if you do just one, it's 2 points. I think if you do all, you get 5. So this one's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. And this is one I will kind of update you on during the month as I go. And I forgot to say, for the Bewitched Book Challenge with Erin Smith, the group book is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. So that book is going to get a lot of traction in October. There's also Gothtober, and Gothtober was created by Olivia's Catastrophe. And then I did figure out Gothtober, and this one is really cute. So you have a little digital game that you play, and you get to pick up different banners along the way, and then that gives you prompts at the end. So here is my little path. And then these are the prompts that I got. Okay, for book that has you falling apart, I am planning on reading Obsidio by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman for that one. And I'm not sure exactly why I'm going with that one. There's probably a couple I could choose, but I have a feeling that this one will just make my brain melt. Just with the sci-fi aspects and all the things that are going on in the series, and I'm hoping it all kind of comes together in the end, which will help, but I think it's going to be some confusing times in the middle. I could be wrong. A book with a sentient house or object, and for that one I'm planning on reading The Portraits of the Forsaken by E.E. Holmes, and this is the 4th book in the Gateway Tracker series, and I'm pretty sure that this one, there's a lot of ghosts and things like that in these stories in this series, so I think that will probably work for this one. And then we have Read a Book with a Monster, and so I'm planning on reading Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff, the 2nd book in the Empire of the Vampire series, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some type of monster in that one. But I could also swap that out for The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, because Hyde, definitely kind of a monster. And then we have A Book You've Been Avoiding, and it's not because I've necessarily been avoiding, I guess it's a little more putting off, but it's kind of avoiding. And that's Return to Edan by Philip Chase. And there's no real particular reason. I really like the series, but it is a little slower. I don't mind slow traveling books, so I'm really not sure why I've been putting it off, but there we go. A book that fills you with mounting dread, and for this one, only because of where the story's going, and I know it's going to make me sad, or I'm going to be frustrated with somebody's choices. And that's going to be Spiritbound by Rochelle Mead, the 5th book in the Vampire Academy series. LGBTQIA+ representation, I'm going to read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and that's the 2nd book in the Alex Stern series. And then Disability Rep, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and that's by Sangu Mandana. And really, I could swap either of those prompts. Hellbent and Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping both have disability and LGBTQIA+ reps. And then BIPOC author, I'm going to read Conqueror's Blood by Ismail Akhtar, and he is Middle Eastern. Okay, I figured out the Long Walk Readathon, but that one, it depends on how many pages are in your book. So if you read a book and it's got 200 pages, then you can move 2 spots on the game board. If you read a book that has 472 pages, you get to read 4 spots on the game board. So that one will depend on what the first book is that I read in October. I did kind of figure out the path and the number of pages, so then I'll just need to fit. So like I wrote down, okay, I have 2 books in the 100 to 199 page group, 4 in the 2s, 5s in the 3s, so on and so forth, and then kind of figure out what path I'm going to take. So hopefully I can read in that order in October. We'll see. I think that's all the updates I got for you. So back to previous Debbie. This Witch Reads is another readathon, and I'm going to be on Team Elemental, and that is with Beck X Reads. And these are all the prompts, and I did find books that are already on my TBR for all of the prompts that are on this board, so I should be able to do a blackout for this one. Very excited about that one. This is where some other books kind of came in handy. So I did find out for the a group or person that's been persecuted, A Time of Blood by John Gwynne does work. An animal companion, of course, to Green Angel Tower will work for that, because the troll, which is one of the side characters, has an animal companion, and he is one of the main side characters, so he's in it a lot. And for trial and competition, I did find The Raven Scholar works for this by Antonia Hodgson, and I have not started that one yet. That one is for a readathon, so I should, for September, so I should be able to make that one work. And for a book with deities or gods, of course, we have The Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. That one will definitely fit that prompt. And then one of the other prompts was something about adverse weather conditions, and I looked it up, you know, being like, what books have these things? Black Sun has a big celestial event, apparently, which is a big weather happening. Yay! This Witch Reads was created by Beck Loves Books, and one of the co-hosts for the Elemental team is Beck X Reads. All right, I think there's only 2 left. The first one is going to be a weekend one, so it runs from Thursday through Sunday every weekend from October 2nd to November 2nd. But if she did say, if you want to just read every day, like just go every day, Monday through Sunday, then that's fine as well. Do what you want to do. And that's probably what I will do, because I don't like the more time constraint, like only this week or only this weekend. I like the whole month. It just makes me less confused if I just keep going. And that one is Halloweekend with Books with Lexi. And she's the one that does the Escape the Room boards. And this is the board for the Halloweekend. So there's 5 weekends, so there's 5 rooms. So basically you would spend time in one room one weekend, the next room the next weekend, etc. You can print off a blank board, or she has ones that have numbers. I've kind of written lightly in pencil what the numbers are, but you can always reference it or just print out that copy, whichever you want. So there's, again, 3 ways to play. You can just kind of go from the start to the end. Whenever you get to a doorway, you have to stop at that door and read that prompt, and then you can go through. But you can also go through and collect all the ghosts. So go to a ghost spot and then keep going to the other prompts. So if you got a 3, you could, and you were here, you could do 1, you stop and collect that ghost, and then, so basically read that prompt and then do 2 and 3. So you continue on with that roll. And you could probably, I'd have to listen again, because I didn't specifically look for that specific thing, but you might be able to double up one book for both those prompts. Not sure though. And then the other way you can play is you go through and you collect all of the little gadgets that will help you investigate. So that will be kind of fun. I'm probably going to try and do all of the little investigator tools and the little ghosties as well as the prompts. I will still probably spend 1 week per room. Instead of just 1 weekend per room, it'll be 1 full week per room for me. All right, for Halloweekend Readathon, I'm going to start in the library up here, and then I'll work my way down and then around and then out on this side. I also want to try and get the little flashlight and the little ghosty in here, so we'll see how that works. Maybe come over this way and then work my way down. Roll number 1. 5. So 1, 2, 3. And I can either go this way to get a 5 or an 8. So I can either do a 5 or an 8. I think I'm gonna go down to 8 just so it's a little easier to get straight through. So that was 3, 4, 5. So I'll need to read a flashlight prompt and the number 8 prompt. And the prompt for the flashlight is to read a book with a light on the cover or make a fall-inspired item. Number 8 prompt is to read a book with a weapon on the cover or do an anticipated fall activity. All right, for the Halloweekend one, I'm going to start in the library, and then I'll work my way down through each of the different rooms and then come back up here and exit out this way. That's my plan so far anyway. But my first roll, I got in a 5. And for that one, I did come down and I did kind of pass by the flashlight. And for that one, you need to read a book with a light on the cover. And for that one, I could read Black Sun because we've got a light back in here. But there's some other books I can read too, because Chalice of the Gods have a light in there, but also Destiny, they have this kind of light element that goes through there. That's a couple of options. I'll go through the book covers for sure, and this is what I'm going to be reading. And then continued on and ended up landing on the number 8 prompt, and that is to read a book with a weapon on the cover, and that's easy. A Time of Blood by John Gwynne. I'm going to be using that book a lot, I'm sure. And then lastly, so excited, it's a brand new year for Fablen, and this is created by the Word Nerd, and I'm so excited. I was watching all of the Fablen readathons happen in prior years, and I've always wanted to take part, and I just never got into it, and this year I'm doing it. It is a D&D based readathon, but you don't need to know how to do anything about D&D. You don't even need to know what D&D means, but Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. And it's going to be a lot of fun. She has all the instructions, all the steps that you need to do. She said it has step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3. It's very easy. And that's for, creating your character and all of that kind of stuff. So Fablen this year is The Forest of Nightmares, which sounds very spooky. And first you need to figure out your character. So you roll a 12-sided die. Okay, character roll for Fablen. Let's see if I can get this one to work. It usually falls all over the place, but let's try it. Haha. That's a 12. See if I can pull it out. It came out as a 12. So that means I am a dragonborn. And for this, I got a 12, which means I am a dragonborn, and I need to read a classic. That'll be easy because I have 2 already on my TBR, and then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and of course, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And I just looked, I actually have that one. I didn't realize I owned it, but I have that one, so that's even easier. Next up, I need to figure out my occupation. So you roll a d4. Here's my roll. Occupation, I need to roll a d4. And that is a 2. So it's whatever, I believe it's whatever number is upright. So that would be a 2 on all of them. That means I am a healer. I got a 2. And that is a healer. So I'm a dragonborn character, and my occupation is a healer. And that is to read a book with a flowers, thread, the moon, or religious symbols on the book. He's got symbols tattooed on his chest. We have the moon back here. We have the moons there. So I think that'll work. Oh, and under the dust jacket, yeah, definitely works. And lastly, I need to figure out what kind of weapon I'm going to use. Okay, and lastly, a d6, and that is to determine what my weapon is. Oops. That is a 3. So I rolled a d6 for that one, and I got a 3, which means I get to use a bow. And for this, I need to read an ensemble cast of 3 or more protagonists. And I think there's a couple books that would probably work for this. Possibly Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. Don't know yet, but the other books all had at least 2, if not 3, different POVs. And A Time of Dread, I'm pretty darn sure is going to have more than 3 POVs because most of John Gwynne's books do. So hopefully one of those will work. Oh, and I forgot to mention that my guild, so you do choose a guild as well, and my guild for Fablen will be the Association of the Mystical. I do still need to come up with a name. If you have any character names that you think would be good for a dragonborn who is a healer, let me know down in the comments. And the character traits of the Association of the Mystical are focused, distinguished, and erudite. And the symbol is a sorceress star. And a bonus prompt, if you read a book with the word star in it, in the title, then you get some bonus points there. And that's as far as I've gotten on that one. We're taking it slow. I will try and do at least a couple vlogs throughout the month. As I read the books, I will then roll again for my next prompt and so on and so forth throughout the month. And I think that's all I have for you today. And I would love to find out if you're participating in any of these readathons, and if so, which ones they are. And if you've made it this far in the video, leave some type of moon emoji in the comments to let me know that you're here. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!